Alright guys, what is up? Welcome to the Boosted 615 channel. I've got a great thing for you guys today. We're going to do a review on a 2017 F150. This is a brand new F150 Lariat. Pretty much fully loaded. It has the second generation 3.5 EcoBoost with a 10-speed transmission. We're going to do an exterior review as well as a interior review, and then I'll go over some of the driving dynamics, the way that it feels on the road. And I'll be basing this review on kind of comparing it between this truck and my 2014 EcoBoost F150. I haven't driven many of the second generation, or not second generation, but the next generation from the 2014 trucks. So this is kind of a good thing for me. It's kind of a clean slate review. I'll be able to really dive into the differences between this truck and the way it feels on the road in comparison to that truck. So let's dive in. Now this truck has the metallic gray exterior paint, which is, I think, in my opinion, a beautiful paint color. You can really see the metal flakes popping out in the sunlight. One of my favorite colors on these trucks. You know, and the first sense that I get with this truck is just how nice pickup trucks in general have gotten. I mean, the 2009 to 2014 generation F-150 was really took a step forward in kind of the luxury truck, if you will, especially with Lariat and Platinum trims. When the Platinum debuted, it was, you know, probably the most luxurious truck out on the market. But these trucks have really become kind of the staple of, you know, luxury and functionability. The owner of this truck, actually recently, just put on a 2-inch level kit with a 275/65/20, so about a 34-inch tall BFG KO2. I used to actually have these tires on my truck, and I think they're a great tire. When I got new ones, I just decided to switch it up and go for the Nitto Ridge Graveler just to try something else. But speaking from experience, the KO2s are probably one of the best tires out there on the market, and if you get them, you'll be happy with them for sure. Now, as you'll see, with a 2-inch level, really no trimming had to be done here. This is, like I said, just a standard 2-inch level with about a 34-inch tire on the stock 20-inch wheels. And, you know, in my opinion, I think it fills out the wheel well pretty well. If you wanted to go with 35 and squeeze it in there, you probably could, but you'd be trimming up those crash bars in the front, which a lot of people don't want to do. And being that this is a brand new truck, the owner of this truck definitely did not want to be cutting up his brand new truck. Now, this truck also has the full LED headlamp. So you'll see it has the LED low beam as well as high beam, LED turn signal, LED running light along the edge. Really love those headlights. I think they're great, and I think the 2018 kind of took it a step further with the full LED that kind of comes all the way to the middle of the grille and then comes along the bottom as well. Overall, just a really beautiful truck. I think that Ford knocked it out of the park with this design. I remember when I first saw the Atlas concept, when it came out, I was blown away. And then, as you'll see here on the rear, the full LED tail lamp with the Bliss blind spot monitoring. And that's something that, you know, I think Ford put a lot of thought into it and how they put into the taillight like that. If you watch my review on the new 2019 GMC Denali when it came out, I actually like the way that GMC does it better with the kind of step into the bumper. Bumper's going to be expensive replacement anyways. I think with the sensor, you don't knock the price up that much. A taillight, I don't know. With the sensor, I haven't looked up pricing for a replacement one. But like I said in that review, I can imagine it would be quite expensive. This truck, I'm going to turn on the lights here so you guys can get a feel for how the lights look when they're turned on. I'll go ahead and turn on the lights. Now the fog lights will not turn on while the truck is turned off. but they are a standard halogen fog light. So here you can see the LED low beam with the yellow running light. I think that is a beautiful looking headlight. Get a front shot. Yeah, I really like those headlights. We'll also go ahead and cut on the hazards. You guys can see the flashing function. And then we'll also go check out the taillights. So this is not a color changing headlight. I know that there's some aftermarket, you can do the circuit board trick where it will make that outline white. But as you'll see, LED turn signal as well as the outer glow also gives it a flash function. Now coming around to the back, you'll see the LED tail lamp as well with the flash. Now the outer running light, this is what will be illuminated when your lights are turned on. It's not a brake, it's not a turn signal, it's just your illumination. And I actually really like that. I think that's a great look. And you'll notice here on the mirror as well, it does have the LED turn signal on the mirror. Go ahead and turn these off, as well as the hazards. So again, just a quick exterior overview of this 2017 F150 Lariat. I'm about to do a detail on this truck, but I wanted to shoot a quick, just a really quick review on it before I got started on that. We're gonna do a full exterior and interior clean, get those wheels looking good and the new tires looking good. Okay, so moving into the interior, you'll see this truck is pretty much fully loaded. It has the Sync 3 navigation, as well as the center stack screen with the digital display for the boost gauge, fuel gauge, everything like that. Really great setup on that. This truck also has the massive twin panel moonroof. I don't know how well you guys can see that, my camera is so zoomed in. But this is, I mean, when Ford introduced that, it was out of this world. I mean, no pickup truck had that. And for them to put that in a, I mean, just for Ford to go through what it takes to put that into the roof of a pickup truck was insane. Legroom wise, you guys will see I'm about 6'2", and there's plenty of legroom back here. This, you know, Ford has always done a great job with the amount of legroom they have in the rear of their F-150 Super Cruise. The Super Cab with the suicide doors does lack a little bit of legroom, obviously with it being a shorter design, but the crew cabs have always had tons of legroom, more so than Chevy and Ram in my opinion. I've sat in the back seat of both of those, and I don't feel as comfortable in either of those trucks. You'll see on the rear for passengers in the back, we have rear heated seats, which is awesome. You have a full 2 USB power ports, as well as a home style power port. So that's both of those are really great features there for backseat passengers. Really nice design. I like the design a lot on the doors. Very simple, clean. You have kind of a, it's hard, but it has a little bit of softness to it. Material here with this nice silver accented paneling, the chrome door handle, same kind of hard in between soft material there, and then a nice kind of wood accented with the chrome trim. Really clean, you know, back seat. Automakers, I think, tend to almost ignore the back seat a little bit, if you will. And while the back doors are definitely not as nice as the front doors, I don't think that they completely ignored everybody. So here's just a quick shot of the back seat area of this truck, you'll see really beautiful leather seats here. This is the black with the kind of gray stitching. Really like how they did this double stitch design. I think that's a nice touch. Really takes this truck up, like I said earlier, with the luxury level that these trucks are kind of getting to. Pretty insane. This one has the power sliding, and this is something that I am a fan of, the way Ford did this, how they set it into the glass so it's not as noticeable. I think that that's a great design. We'll go ahead and hop into the front here, and you'll see that the front door shares the same design language as the back door. But what you will notice here is that this panel where you would kind of rest your elbow is a very soft leather with the nice stitching on it. Really nice, really big fan of that. Very comfortable. The passenger seat on this one has your basic forward, backward, and then the tilt for the backrest here. You'll see it moving there. But it also features a power lumbar as well as an up and down feature, which a lot of passenger seats don't have. The dash area, this is something that the last generation, or the generation before this, had on the upper trims, but it has this kind of overlay, like leather overlay, soft touch for the most part with the stitching like that. Overall, the design language of the interior of this truck, you know, I'm a big fan. It's very, you know, squared off and matches the exterior well. One thing that I'm not a fan of, and I've mentioned this in my Denali review, is the column shifter. I know some people probably like this a lot, and with the level of luxury that, like, maybe you kind of expect that, I would still rather see it up there by the steering wheel just for a better truck feel. I don't know, that's just a personal opinion. I'll go ahead and hop into the front seat here. Now the front seat is the same as the passenger seat. It has full forward and backward, up and down, as well as the tilt for the backrest and the power lumbar. Now the front seat is, or the front driver's seat, is definitely a place that I would love to spend some more time. Very comfortable. Again, you have the on the elbow rest here, you have the soft leather, so that's really nice. Big, lots of storage here, 2 cup holders. I'm a fan of this design, and also here, kind of a nice place you can set your phone or something. It's nice that the Ford engineers thought of that, if that's what that is indeed for. You'll see here you have 2 USB plugs, as well as a nice storage container down there, and then this will slide forward to close that up with a nice wood trim there. This truck does have heated and cooled seats in the front, heated seats in the rear, full dual climate zone, so hot cold, passenger control there, hot cold. Really like that. Your typical HVAC functions here, your media functions, volume, tuning, everything's pretty normal there. It has the Sync 3 system, traction control, hazards, auto start stop button, which we'll get into a little bit later. This one has 2 high, 4 auto, 4 high, 4 low, with a locking rear diff if you pull out on this knob. And it has the Pro Trailer Backup Assist, which is not something that I've ever used. It's not something that I see myself ever using, but if you are not used to backing up a trailer, I could see how this would be helpful. Like I said, I've never used it, and I don't have a trailer hooked up to the truck to test it out. But, you know, if you're used to backing up a trailer, I mean, how hard is it? But if you're new to the truck world and the trailer world, that's probably actually a really nice feature that people like. Now here we have the trailer brake controller, and you'll notice that on the generation before this, that is located pretty much here. And so what they did was they moved the Pro Trailer backup knob up here and moved this down. And I don't know if that was a great move. This isn't something that you use all the time, but if you do use this truck to tow quite a bit, that might be a little bit low. But I do like it better than where Chevy has it, where they put it over here. I don't like that. So, you know, that's something that maybe Ford could look into a little more, is kind of repositioning where they put that. I don't know where else they would put it, but that's something that, in my opinion, they probably could change. Here you have a nice, you know, center storage. All Fords have had this since pretty much 2004. Again, more refined though, it's a little bit deeper. This one does have the high-end Sony audio system, and I haven't had much of a chance to test it out, but I would imagine that it sounds pretty good. On the center console, pretty standard soft touch leather, again with this gray stitching. And as with all F-150s and really pickup trucks in general, you have a massive cavernous center console here. I mean, it's just absolutely huge. You can fit a lot of stuff in there. Now, this truck also has the power folding mirrors. Let me find the button here. So, a one-touch button here, pretty simple. Just click it. Okay, so again, this truck does have the power folding mirrors, and when you click this button here, you'll see they do in fact fold in. I do love that feature. I wish I had it badly, especially with the tow mirrors on my truck. This is something that is very handy. Now, one thing that was weird is it required me to turn the truck on to fold those in, and I was not expecting that. Now, as you'll see here on the dash, really beautiful display. You have the My View, which allows you to pick basically 3 or 4 different screens. So fuel economy, the owner of this truck has off-road status, as well as you're able to configure that screen. Now you go over to your basic fuel, and you'll see you have fuel economy, fuel history, compass, and then the auto start stop, which you can turn on and off while you're driving the vehicle. Now this one, you have your truck info, so you can do tire pressure, which is pretty nice. Digital speedometer, which is very nice. I like that a lot. Your oil life, and then your My Key. Towing, again, pretty basic status information, setting things up if you don't know what you're doing. Off-road is a pretty cool screen. I have this in my truck, and I don't use it very much because I don't go off-road a ton, but it is cool how they have the little gyro in the truck that's able to show you, you know, when you turn the wheel, it shows you the degree of turn, which is pretty cool, as well as your kind of up-down tilt angles. That's something that I like a lot. And then settings, you can go through and kind of customize everything. We're not going to do that because this is not my truck, but you could, in fact, do that. Over here in the Sync 3 system, you'll see he has it set up with the navigation, audio off, and then connect to phone. That's pretty standard setup. When you go to the audio screen, you'll see it shows the, I guess, whatever radio station you're on. The graphics on this are okay. I've seen better, but you know, they're certainly not bad. Here you can control your climate functions. I would probably be more comfortable doing that down there because that's what I'm used to. But if I spent more time with the screen, maybe I would get used to doing it here. You have your phone, full screen nav, and then your apps, which is pretty cool. You can get live traffic and everything like that through Sirius Link. So that is a pretty cool feature there. And then here's all your settings for that. Pretty responsive. I've used some screens, GM for example, in a Tahoe. I think it was 2014, the first year of the new body style. A little laggy, wasn't a huge fan of it, but I know they've gotten better, and I think that this one works pretty well. Now, driving this truck, I haven't spent a ton of time behind the wheel of it, obviously, but I will tell you that you can definitely feel those extra horsepower and torque gains in the 2017 versus the first generation EcoBoost. Like I said, this is a second generation EcoBoost with the 10-speed transmission, and you know, this is the first vehicle that I've driven with a 10-speed transmission. The 6-speed in my truck is, you know, that's what I have, that's what I'm used to, and it does some things that kind of bother me, where it will kind of lag between second and third gear at a low speed. This truck does not do that. This truck is very, very, very smooth in its shifts, and you really don't feel each shift. From 1 to 2, you get a little bit of a thump, not a thump, but you can feel the shift. But above that, I really haven't felt anything that, you know, is out of the ordinary. Now, one thing that I will say is that it feels, coming from a 2014 and then driving this truck, it does feel so much more refined. Now, being a Lariat, obviously it's got some extra sound deadening and things like that inside that really quiet it up, and it's very quiet. Minimal engine noise. I haven't really been able to tell if this one has the augmented sound or not. It doesn't sound here. We'll give it a little gas here and we'll see. Yeah, it's just hard for me to tell. You know, maybe it's just not that loud, and I've never heard one before, so I can't say for sure. But the engine note's not bad. It's a V6 EcoBoost. We all know about that. Turbo noise, I don't hear any, which I do actually hear in my truck in the 2014. Now, I've done some things in that truck to make the turbos a little bit louder. I've removed some parts, if you will. This truck just did one thing that I really do not like, is the auto start stop. I know they have to do it, I understand. And this one's not as obtrusive as some other vehicles that I've driven, but I still feel it, and I don't want to feel it. Whenever I'm sitting here at a red light right now, I can feel the engine shut off, and then when I take my foot off the brake, I can feel it turn back on. And there's not much of a delay, but there is a little bit of a delay where when I take my foot off the brake, I can feel almost like a little bit of a jolt, and then the truck starts moving when I put my foot on the gas. So that's just something that, you know, I've found myself in the short time I've had this truck reaching over and hitting that auto start stop button to turn that feature off. Just not something that I'm a fan of. Now, this truck does have, like I mentioned before, it has a 2-inch leveling kit and those 275/65 20 KO2s, and it rides really nice. These trucks have always rode pretty well, almost car-like, if you will. So yeah, I didn't drive it in stock form. I can't compare it to stock form, but I will say that it does drive really nice, and it's not anything that I would consider harsh or anything like that. Even with the 2-inch leveling kit on there, the suspension still feels like it has a good amount of travel and some comfort aspects to it. Now, again, in the short time I've had with this truck, I've been with it for about an hour right now, and I really am a big fan of this truck. I like it a lot. I think that if you're in the market for a truck, this is where you should start. Maybe a loaded out XLT, you can get a lot of these same kind of amenities in it. And if you're not into the you know, luxury aspect of it, then by all means go for an XLT. I have an XLT that has leather, and that's about the only option it has, and I love that truck so much. This truck is definitely, it's like a luxury car, honestly. It is beautiful inside and outside, and I can only compare it to a luxury car because that's really what it is. One thing I did want to mention with this truck, though, is the steering feel is a little bit light for my liking. Just coming from a 2014, it had a little bit more of a heaviness, a little more weight, I guess, in the steering. And, you know, this is just a personal opinion. Again, the steering feels more refined on this truck, but it feels very light. I kind of like how I feel in my truck. I feel planted, and I feel the weight of the steering wheel, where with this truck, like I said, it just feels a little bit light. Now, another thing I want to mention with the steering here, I can feel it as I'm driving more. With this 2-inch leveling kit on here, I don't know if this is just a characteristic of that, but I almost feel a little bit of play in the steering wheel, and that's not something that I felt whenever I leveled my 2014. So I don't know if that's a characteristic of the truck or a characteristic of the leveling kit, but I do get a little bit of kind of play where there's a little bit of off-centered each way, where there's like a kind of a dead zone, if you will. So I did want to mention that. I don't know how other people feel when they're leveling these trucks, if that's something that's common, but that is something that I have noticed while I've been behind the wheel of this truck. I have to say, this is the first time I've been behind the wheel of one of these second generation EcoBoost engines, and honestly, I'm in love. I mean, I fell in love with my first generation 3.5. The amount of torque at the low end and power that it had out of a V6, a twin turbo V6, blew me away. I was kind of stuck between the 5.0 and the 3.5, and You know, I was kind of, I hate to admit it, but I was in the gotta have a V8 crowd. And after I drove an EcoBoost, you know, unless you've never driven one, maybe you're still part of that 5.0 V8 crowd. But if you've been behind the wheel of an EcoBoost, I haven't driven a 2.7, but if you've been behind the wheel of a 3.5, you know what it's capable of, and you know how much power it has. And unless you just really care about having a V8 in a pickup truck, I don't know why you wouldn't opt for the 3.5. Anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Like I said, I'm about to do a full not a quick, it's actually gonna take me a while, but a full exterior detail of this truck. And we should get it looking pretty good, and we're gonna take it back to its owner. But yeah, so if you are new to the channel, my name is Zach, and you know, this has kind of been an informal review. I definitely want to do more formal style reviews with cars that I'll have longer, kind of go over more of the numbers, power numbers and things like that. But in the quick time that I had with this truck, like I said, wanted to do just a quick overview for some of you guys that may be looking into buying one of these. Again, this is a 2017, but it is a brand new truck. It was one of the last 2017s that this particular dealer had on the lot, and the owner of this truck preferred the styling of the 2017 to the 2018, and that's a personal preference. So he opted to go for the 2017, and he ended up getting a pretty good deal on it. So he went and bought it. But you know, this is, like I said, been a pretty informal review. Definitely want to do more formal style. I'll go over more horsepower numbers, torque numbers, kind of quick, not a quicker, but a more in-depth overview of a lot of the features and everything. But yeah, I wanted to make this video for you guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Subscribe to me on YouTube, please. I'm trying to grow the channel. We're pretty low on subscriber count right now, but I do want to, you know, boost the channel. And with your guys' help, I think I'll be able to do that. Follow me on Instagram to keep up with what I'm doing. I do a lot of car detailing tips, different things that I'm doing in my life. I like to fish, so I do a lot of outdoors things. So follow me on Instagram at boosted615, same as YouTube. And drop a like on the video, please, if you enjoyed it. And comment below some of the things that maybe you want to see in a video, or some cars that you'd like to maybe see review. But I thank you guys for your time. I hope you guys have a great weekend. We're heading into the weekend. I don't know when this video will be up, but it'll probably be up by the weekend. So I hope you guys have a great weekend. Thank you for stopping in. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.